with our mm, putting out gases that are detrimental to that. So, in a way, we have more responsibility now to look at what is our relationship with the sun. See, usually we want people to be exposing to their the sun on a daily basis, preferably in the morning time, so that they can jumpstart their um, what do you call the your circadian rhythm. See, every 12 hours it changes, right? And that really, you are supposed to sleep when it's dark, the melatonin secretes, and you sleep, and you get up in the morning and you jumpstart the circadian rhythm again, right? And also, it is needed for the vitamin D and also mental health too. It feels you really helps you. Of course, you have to wear the sunscreen for the extended exposure. And also, it's better to combine with the physical activity. See, and uh, you also want to create some outdoor rituals whereby you can go and expose yourself by playing something or walking and all that. Of course, your vitamin D levels are very important, so that's why you expose your skin to the sun, and then you monitor them frequently and make sure they are in line. And also you got to be careful with the weather you are going out, and the humidity and all that. Okay, so lots of people around the world are suffering the extreme weather now, extreme sun. Okay, and that is really causing a lot of deaths also now. Okay, so we know about that too. Apart from that, in yoga, we do what are called sun salutations. It's a combination of different postures waved into a routine that you could bend your spine back and forth in so many postures, and that's one of the best aerobic exercise ever um, invented, I believe. So actually, if you do that, then you will see how that is very well. So you can take a morning walk, or you can do outdoor meeting, gardening, and then you can do lunch outside. I always like the restaurants that have some chairs out there under the tree, and you can go and enjoy the sunshine. I love that. I never sit in the restaurant if it's not too hot. Okay, so there is a way to people also relate sun as the life giver, and without that no life happens on the earth, and that's why they worship as a god you know but that's up to their religious behavior, or whatever their thinking is. But the important thing is it is the giver of life, that's for sure. And in the morning when you go and do gratitude, all the salutations, first of all, you are grateful, which is good for you. And also, you are being really, really aerobic, right? All that exercise, all the spinal bending and down, up, that really stimulates your nervous system. You are awake after one round of sun salutations, which is a series of 12 postures, right? And they have meaning, they have mantras for that, all those things are there. But even if you don't have any of the beliefs, all that, you can just do the routine, and it could be a warm up exercise, or you could do a number of exercises. Some kids do 108 times in a row, and they are very, very, very good with that capacity and aerobic capacity, right? So there are other stories where people who kind of meditate on the sun, and then they kind of reduce the perception of the heat and all that. That's a different matter, but I'm just mentioning it to so there are stories where people did that, and then overcame the heat much better. There is one breathing exercise which is called Shitali. When you do that, your thirst will be much reduced with that. So there are different stories around yoga folklore, and some of them are you can experience yourself and see whether they work for you or not. So definitely, the sun salutations work for you because it is a kind of exercise which is very good. I personally myself do it, even though not to the same extent when I was very young. I will do some of it at least, so just to keep my body going and body aerobically fit and all. So this wellness series that I was talking about is concerned because instead of giving a long, boring lecture, I want to give one tip a day so that I can be brief and I can indicate how much you can go deep into that. And maybe your own experiences will tell us some of the anecdotes, some of the relationships that you had. All that is something important, right? So let us see where the practices of ancient India on the sun is. They did what's called morning salute, Sandhya Vandanam. That means they go on the bank of a river. They'll be offering their worship to the sun and offer water to the, take the water out of the river and offer it to the sun. And then they do this breathing exercise, pranayama, and also they do the yoga salutations, which really revs them up, makes them alert, makes them reverent to the gods, and then also they are exposing their skin to the sun, and they are doing the exercise that's very aerobic for them. So their body, their energy, their mind, all are exposed to the morning time, morning sun, and immense benefit in so many ways, right? That's what they are all doing, so that's a practice evolved into so many religious practices. They may do it without knowing what is um, meant for it and what are the benefits you will have by having these rituals outdoor, right? In India, because it's a tropical country, mostly it is sunny. Summer is pretty hot and humid, but rest of the time will be rather cool, supposed to be, right? So these practices evolved when they had a relationship with the nature, with the sun being the main thing, and all the plants and trees and animals, they had a nice relationship with that too. So they prepared themselves in the morning and they slept early and they woke up early so that they had this time as the sun is coming up. They kind of offer these prayers, these exercises, these breathing exercises, and then they start their day and they walk, right? And then go to different areas and do. So that's how yoga practices have evolved. And then they kind of studied the animals and adopted some of the qualities of the animals with the asanas that they created according to the animal's character, right? So they call it cow pose, they call it tiger pose, so many different things are there. And once you understand the quality of the animal and then you are doing it accordingly, you will develop that quality within yourself, right? So, for example, you have a shoulder pain, you do Gomukasana, where both your hands are kept such a way you resembles a cow, and the cow has always sits down and puts one leg forward, other leg other backward, like that. So they study animals like that, and then those characters they incorporated in them. Okay, so sun and man and everything else has got an intimate relationship. Now we know sun is the one which develops the chlorophyll in the trees and which is giving us life, and then it rotates like that. Sun is the one who evaporates all the water in the river and they become the clouds, and then they pour down and form the rivers, and rivers stays back to while cultivating everything on their way, they come back and join the sea, right? So river is compared to the mind that is running, and it wants to come back and mix with the silence of the sea. Okay, so many ways you can really see sun is reflected in ancient India, in yoga practices especially. So modern thing we know much more with the sun. Lately, we sent a satellite to study the sun, right? And the sun is a static thing; it doesn't move, but we are the ones who are going around it. But that's why all the sunrise, sunset is all our own creation, in our own imagination. But the sun is not going anywhere; he stays there, right? But then we know there are certain volcanoes happening on the surface of the sun, which are going to be pretty injurious to us if they flare at a certain. They just found that out with the satellite studying the surface of the sun from thousands and thousands of miles a day. Okay, that's the scientific thing going on. But some people want to create sun-like heat in experiments here on Earth. They are doing that, and they are using those experiments for our welfare. Okay, so that's briefly what the sun relationship we have, and how basically God expose yourself at least half an hour in the morning. And when you are working, be careful what kind of temperature, humidity there. Don't exert yourself if you are elderly on the outward sun too long on the gardening. Maybe early in the morning and at the dusk time. Dawn and dusk time are good for working outdoors for elderly. Usually, I advise patients like anybody above 65 or any chronic disease, we usually tell them don't work too hard in the mid sun, right? And also hydrate yourself, and don't expire. And then also drink some of the fruit juices or fruits that are having water, right? Plain water is fine, but fruit juice are much better too. If you are not a diabetic, you can use the juice. If you are diabetic, you can eat the whole fruit. That is much better. Okay. So this is the wellness tip: is how you want to expose yourself to the sun and get benefited out of that, and also how you can understand salutations are very good aerobic exercise, and you can do that too. So any questions or any doubts, you can come up. So these tips are going to go on every day for about 60 days. We already done 13 days. So maybe we have 47 days more left on weekdays at this hour, 8 o'clock. So maybe half an hour, just to be brief and concise. But if you want to go deeper into these tips, we can talk each tip extensively, because that much is there. But the wellness tips have not come just out of like that. They have evolved over centuries, through several cultures and all that. So we are the beneficiaries of those knowledge from centuries and ages. These ancient systems were there for thousands of years, but the explanations were given, but many people didn't care about studying them. And the science is only a few hundred years. So you can compare, so I have a lot of reference to ancient wisdom, because they have found out a lot of things which we are scientists now trying to understand and then discover them. So we should be very thankful to the ancients who had worked so hard to give us all these treasures, that they call. I have a lot of, I'm an MD. I grew up in scientific community. I'm still in scientific community. I'm very interested in the modern scientific breakthroughs, which I follow religiously. So I have an open mind. It is the so-called scientists now, or the people who think science has all the answers. They are the ones who are not open-minded to receive already established thousands of years of practices, and which has a lot of science behind it. Okay, so that's about it for today. And if you guys want to send me any DMs, you are welcome. I'll be able to reach out to them. Uh, Thank you, and I will see you again tomorrow at 8 o'clock with another tip. Tip a day for wellness. Thank you. Bye.